Welcome back to Ravens Today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda, giving you all the latest updates on anything and all things Ravens. A lot to go over today, so let's dive into it. So, Monken, it's all but certain that he is out. Because when a new head coach is being interviewed, process when a new head coach is announced, 90% of the time, that new coach will make, you know, some changes in the coaching. This includes firing all of the coordinators and bringing in his staff. This is true with Todd Monken. Monken has all but said he's out. Like and he said, "In quote, I'm not bitter. I'm grateful. On to the next challenge. I love the people here. I wish them nothing but the best." And for he also mentioned that where like this narrative was that Harbaugh had this bitter relationship. He has nothing but praise for Harbaugh, but he does wish that he and Lamar had a better relationship. Wishes he could put Lamar into a better seat. Now, I think he's just being humble. I absolutely that he is just saying that because he wanted Lamar so badly to win the Super Bowl. He wanted the Ravens to win the Super Bowl, but he feels like he didn't do enough. And it's just one of those things where it's like very humbling to say. He's not. He said himself. He's like, listen, I listened to the noise that was coming in, and I just wish I was able to put our team, especially a quarterback that I helped win an MVP with, into a better position, get over that hump, win us a championship. I have nothing but praise for Todd Monken. And it's unfortunate too because I thought he'd be one of the many applicants for that head coach vacancy for the Ravens, but it looks like the case, and I believe he is one of the best offensive coordinators we've ever had. 2023, man, was something else. Lamar just absolute went supernova with under Todd Monken. It was, just one of those. I wish we could have seen a lot more out of this, but unfortunately, injuries just didn't. Line looked, all of the defense was looking. Monken couldn't do enough. Like he can right the ship on his own, but very humble about it. And he said, "I could have done more." I hope that wherever he goes next, he finds success. This brings me to the next one. Zach Orr is probably next, and I'm going to be a little bit more critical. Mind you, he was able to make some changes throughout the season. Both seasons he was coordinator. Mind you, he was very passionate, and I do praise him for that. He did want players to succeed, and super ecstatic when they did succeed. But I don't think he was ready for a position like this at all. He was a Harbaugh guy. Harbaugh loved him, constantly praised him, except for a few times where, like against the Packers, and it's just inexperience. In my opinion, I think we someone with a little bit more experience on as a defensive coordinator than a linebackers coach. Mind you, like if Orr was the guy to do it, like then, like if he was the best available, then that says a lot. But I, I'm just critical because we got stuck. Did we came into this mentality of bend don't break? I've mentioned all season, and it's just not enough. And it was, mind you, it like they were able to make stops when they did, but it just never seemed like the Ravens of old bullies. Mind you, it's a different NFL, and being a bully in the NFL these days, penalties. But it just felt like that this defense just didn't have that fire in them. under Zach Orr. And I think Orr, just with his inexperience, wasn't wasn't ready. And he's probably going to be next. So our next defensive coordinator better have some more experience under his belt. I truly believe that's where it's going. I think that his next coordinator, first of all, whoever's the head coach, isn't going to promote from within. They're going to bring their own guy in from the outside and bring qualified, and our defense is going to look a lot better. That being said, that's nothing against Orr. Again, he's a Harbaugh guy. Harbaugh brought him up and everything, but at the same time, Harbaugh needed to realize that Orr could not succeed or meet the expectations that we have been so used to as fans of this team. And I like the constant praise that he gave, or especially when in the season, we were ranked dead last in almost everything. And not to mention the fact that we brought back Chuck Pagano, all of these, people for Orr to look at guidance. It's like we need to start promoting guys over him, or take a step down, bring in Pagano, and because Pagano has experience, decades of experience as a defensive coordinator. So, but it just happened. I'm going to adamant that we will get an announcement in a couple of days that Zach Orr most likely will not be on the Ravens. But let's see. Ravens also interviewed Rob Saleh for the head coaching position. I don't want this one at all. I don't. I think it's stupid. Mind you, Rob Saleh on the 49ers has done wonders with their defense. Wonders with, especially with all the injuries that have happened. He's able to them in there. But I have to bring up his time as Jets head coach. Mind you, he was put in a position where he most likely wasn't going to succeed. Zach Wilson, mind you, had a couple of good games as a Jet, but overall it stunk. Then Aaron Rodgers. Rob Saleh could not be put into a position where he could bring in a team, bring any real success to a team that had Breece Hall, had Wilson, had a young quarterback, had a veteran washed quarterback who was injured in his first play of the season. Here's a New York Jet, and then stunk as a Jet. So I just don't. I don't like this. I don't think. Obviously, I don't think. But I just, it's one of those things where you get really anxious. No, don't do it. Stay away. But that's nothing like if we get him as a defensive coordinator. Oh, I love that. I think he would be great as a defensive coordinator. Imagine him as the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. We would be miles better than what he brought with the 49ers. I think so. But head coach, no way. No. We need a guy who can really has had a history of success, and also I don't think he would be able to unlock Lamar fully, and get a guy that's what the front office wants. Shoddy wants. That's certainly what the Ravens want. Right. But that moves on to the last one here. Spagnuolo is on the radar for the Ravens, and was former Ravens coach, assistant with the Ravens. He was the coach for the Ravens. Currently, defensive coordinator for the. I don't like him. I'm sorry, I don't. And mind you, he was always put into a position where he was when he was the. But he's also older. That's nothing against an old coach. because coaches like that have tons of experience and can bring a ton of knowledge to a team. But I think we need new blood. That's just, I've said it many times. We need a young coach, a young, hungry coach that isn't stuck on tradition. We need someone new. Like, look at Mike McDonald, who was completely overhauled the Seahawks, number one seed in the NFC, in his second year as head coach. Mostly because Everett certified backup and is not a starter in the NFL. Placed him with Sam Darnold, who has had a stellar season. We need a guy like that. You know? We need a guy who is young, who makes these creative plays, especially when it comes to Lamar Jackson, and is able to, not stick to the what's worked for them for years and years. We need a young guy who is able to just completely elevate the game and in a whole. And I really believe that's what the Ravens. But we'll have to wait and see. Mind you, was a coach on the Ravens, so I guess they're just trying to see if they can, see like kind of creep in a little bit, see if what he's willing to bring. But I don't think it's gonna happen. We'll have to wait and see because this is going to be a long process, and I know the Ravens are not going to rush. They're going to time with this, but also this. We will probably have a head coach before the draft, and we will probably have two defensive coordinator and an offensive for that draft. Thank you for tuning in to Ravens today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Have a good one.